The Luck of Barry Lyndon by William Makepeace Thackeray. A bibliographical note. Barry Lyndon, far from the best known, but by some critics acclaimed as the finest of Thackeray's works, appeared originally as a serial a few years before Vanity Fair was written, yet it was not published in book form, and then not by itself, until after the publication of Vanity Fair. Pendennis, Esmond and the Newcomes had placed its author in the forefront of the literary men of the day. So many years after the event, we cannot help wondering why the story was not earlier put in book form. For in its delineation of the character of an adventurer, it is as great as Vanity Fair, while for the local color of history, if I may put it so, it is no undistinguished precursor of Esmond. In the number of Fraser's magazine for January 1844 appeared the first installment of The Luck of Barry Lyndon Esq., a romance of the last century by Fitzbootle, and the story continued to appear month by month, with the exception of October, up to the end of the year, when the concluding portion was signed G.S. Fitzbootle. Fitzbootle's Confessions, it should be added, had appeared occasionally in the magazine during the years immediately precedent, so that the pseudonym was familiar to Fraser's readers. The story was written, according to its author's own words, with a great deal of dullness, unwillingness, and labor, and was evidently done as the installments were required, for in August he wrote, "Read for B.L. all the morning at the club," and 4 days later of B.L. lying like a nightmare on my mind. The Journey to the East, which was to give us in Literary Results notes of a journey from Cornhill to Grand Cairo, was begun with Barry Lyndon yet unfinished, for at Malta the author noted on the first 3 days of November, "Wrote Barry but slowly and with great difficulty. Wrote Barry with no more success than yesterday. Finished Barry after great throes late at night." In the number of Fraser's for the following month, as I have said, the conclusion appeared. A dozen years later, in 1856, the story formed the first part of the third volume of Thackeray's Miscellanies, when it was called Memoirs of Barry Lyndon Esq., written by himself. Since then, it has nearly always been issued with other matter, as though it were not strong enough to stand alone, or as though the importance of a work was mainly to be gauged by the number of pages to be crowded into one cover. The scheme of the present edition, fortunately, allows fitting honor to be done to the memoirs of the great adventurer. To come from the story as a whole to the personality of the eponymous hero. 3 widely differing historical individuals are suggested as having contributed to the composite portrait. Best known of these was that very prince among adventurers.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?